As a project manager, you are estimating the cost required to complete the project activities. All the following tools can be used except A, analogous estimating, B, derivative estimates, C, historical relationships, and D, cost of quality. And the correct answer is historical relationship. So here's what we're talking about. It's an accept question. So you're estimating the cost required to complete the project activities. All of the following tools can be used except. So when you are estimating something, you will use analogous estimating. I hope you remember the definition. We will use derivative estimates, which is nothing but WBS. Remember, bottom-up estimating is also known as derivative, deterministic, definitive. So these are all 3Ds. That means it's bottom-up estimating. And then, of course, you have cost of quality. The one thing that you don't use is called historical relationships. It's not an estimating method at all, right? And therefore, because this is an accept question, well, that's the wrong option, and therefore that's the correct answer. All right, question number 52. Well, into the executing phase of the project, your project engineer comes to you with a suggestion that would deliver the project 2 months earlier. However, his suggestion requires a modest increase to the project budget. What is the first thing for you to do? A. You tell the project engineer that you will not further investigate the suggestion because its cost is more important than schedule. B. You request the project engineer to raise a change request. C. You tell the project engineer to immediately start the work to implement his change. And D. You call the project sponsor and inform him that the project will be delivered 2 months early. And the correct answer is B. The moment somebody suggests a change request, you need to actually make sure that a change request is raised. After that, you do impact analysis. After that, you provide all of that and present it to the CCP. And if they approve it, you change the baseline. If they don't approve it, you just put it in the change log and forget about it, right? With the reasons, right? So basically, you should know the correct sequence of basically the change request process. So the very next thing, the question is, what is the first thing that you're going to do? Which is also the same as once you know this, what is the very next thing that you're going to do? We are talking about sequence, and therefore the best answer is B. Immediately go for a change request form. Fill the change request. All right, let's move on to question number 53. Which of these precedence relationships is least commonly used in precedence diagramming method? A. Start to finish. B. Finish to finish. C. Finish to start. And D. Start to finish. And the correct answer is start to finish. Start to finish is a relationship or a dependency technique which is never used, right? It's you should not even try to use it. So, but when you talk about precedence diagramming method, that basically means a network or the sequencing. So basically, essentially, this question reads that, hey, which of these techniques is never used in any kind of sequencing? And the answer is start to finish. And by the way, opposite to it, not literally opposite, but inverse of it, which is finish to start, is the most common, right? And this is the least common, or it's basically you never use it. By the way, did you know that there is a book which is completely colored and it's only about the notes for PMP exams? All the notes, tips and tricks that would probably need for acing PMP exam. And that's available in a book called Ninja Notes. Have a look. It's all colored from inside. All right. Where do you find this? Ninja Notes for PMP 2021? Well, let's go to Amazon.com. Has notes. Right? That's it. Read and pass notes. That's my publication. And you have a few other books, and this is the book that I'm talking about. Now, this is available in two different versions. One is Kindle, which is for $9, and the paperback, which is completely colored from inside, is $38. Paperback is now available only for US and a few other European and Japanese clients. In India, we have only the Kindle version. If you're from India, you'll just have to go to amazon.in, and over here you'll have to type the same thing, read and pass notes, and voila, you'll get the same. So you have for $449. All right, let's move on to question number 54. In the beginning of the project, multiple brainstorm sessions were conducted. The project sponsor asks Tim to categorize all ideas generated during these sessions and present these to the new project manager and sponsor. Which are two tools that Tim can use for this assignment? A. Affinity diagrams and multi criteria decision analysis. B. Benchmarking and affinity diagrams. C. Benchmarking and mind mapping. And D. Mind mapping and affinity diagrams. And the correct answer is mind mapping and affinity diagram. Remember, mind mapping and affinity diagrams are both data representation techniques in which, if you have some ideas, if you have certain parameters that you want to show to people, you want to put them suitably categorized, you could use mind mapping or affinity diagram. They're both one and the same thing, just the presentation is slightly different. Right? So keep that in mind. And also remember that mind mapping and affinity diagram are also used for brainstorming when you have to do brainstorming. So whatever that comes out, you can actually put them up in a categorized form with nesting headings, subheadings like that in these representation techniques, which are mind mapping and affinity diagrams. All right, so that's the reason why it's an answer. Question number 55. A team member is visiting the manufacturing plant of a vendor when the PM calls and wants to discuss something. What should be the most important thing that the PM should make sure of during the discussion? A. Ask the team member to repeat back what he has said. B. Ask the team member to look for change requests. C. Review the list of all stakeholders. And D. Review the upcoming meeting schedule. And the correct answer is A. Ask the team member to repeat back what he said. Remember, if you look at all these options, these are other options are based on assumptions, right? So review the list of all stakeholders. You're assuming that the other person has gone to the customer side or to the factory to talk to the stakeholders, or review the upcoming meeting schedule. So these are all based on assumptions. So when we don't know that, then the best thing is to follow the communication model. And the communication model is the sender receiver model, which means that if I say something and I need to take a feedback to understand that you heard it or understood it the way I wanted you to understand. And therefore, the best answer is connected to the sender receiver model, and that is ask the team member to repeat back what he said, right?